Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. The Atlanta Braves took on the Los Angeles Dodgers, and if it weren't for Austin Riley and Bryce Elder, we might be having a much different conversation. But I came into this series saying, hey, don't get swept. You got some momentum. I know we had Bryce Elder on the mound. He turned out to be the one that actually won the game, but Yoshinobu Yamamoto against Grant Holmes, didn't love the pitching matches, especially with Spencer Schwellenbach coming into this game, struggling, which we definitely have to talk about. But I don't know how I feel about this series, because after the first two games, I was ready to just jump off the top of a building. I mean, I was so upset watching this team and thinking how far we've fallen.
I think you aren't a good person to talk to about this because you went. Would you have a different perspective if you didn't, on a whim, go to Saturday night's game? I think you would be a little less hot. I do think you would be a little less hot.
I do not care about the fact that I feel like I
do care a little bit.
No.
I know you.
I was watching the game, and I was watching the game the night before, and I watched all the games, and I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, dude, what the hell happened to the team that I loved? And I know they end up winning this game with Bryce Elder on the bump, but that's fool's gold. We know what Bryce Elder is going to be like. That's not sustainable. We won the last three starts with him out there. We're not going to win the next three. I'll bet you that. I'll bet you my bottom dollar that. And that's I guess it is disrespect to Bryce Elder, but that's just
complete.
That's just the state of what it is. I'm just sitting there watching this team, and I know people are going to look and be like, oh, but they're the Dodgers. They spend all this money. You can't compete with them. This Dodgers team's without two of their best pitchers. They have six guys on the IL. This isn't the same Dodgers team that was an absolute juggernaut maybe to begin the season that you played. And I'm like, we don't necessarily I'm just we don't necessarily belong on the same field as these guys a lot of nights. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? How the hell did we fall so far? And
very carefully.
And I'm just thinking I'm not saying the Braves can't make the playoffs. I mean, obviously they played playoff caliber baseball over the last several weeks since that 0-7 start. But I'm like, this team's so far away from competing for a championship right now. I can't feed the amount of stuff that's going to have to go their way over the next 5 months. And it can go their way. Is going to have to be a lot. And I'm like, how the hell did we end up here? And I think it's just the entire season where I'm like, we feel far away right now for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable way to think about how this Dodgers series unfolded. I can talk a little bit more optimistically for the other half of the fan base out there. Outside of that Saturday game, and even going back to the sweep, only two of the games out of the 6 games have really just been uncompetitive ball games. All of the losses have been 1 or 2 runs outside of those 2 games. So you can think of it like that. You can also think that, wow, yes, the Braves, when we're out there, we don't even look like we belong on the same field as the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is not the final form of the 2025 Atlanta Braves. This is the form that we know is without its 2 best players, bar none. We love Austin Riley. We love Matt Olson. We do think Spencer Schwellenbach is great, even though he's had these couple of hiccups. We know what Chris Sale did, but the best pitcher in this organization is Spencer Strider, and the best position player is Ronald Acuna Jr. Now, that's putting a lot on them to kind of return and be the engines that get this Atlanta Braves team into, they are playoff caliber, but they are not championship caliber at this point in time in the season. And again, to your point, that's only one piece of the puzzle, because even if those guys do return to form, and let's just say, there is an unlikely emergence or two that is here to stay, not just a flash in the pan like we talk about, whether it's in the bullpen, whether it's, Nick Allen, Eli White, or, whether it's Grant Holmes or Bryce Elder, whatever the guy is that emerges, you still need to add at the trade deadline. So there are several things that do have to come our way. But as we say, this is a very long season. That wasn't the entire season. This 3-game series in Atlanta, though disappointing, we did avoid a sweep. I must say, we avoided the sweep. I just think there's a lot of ball games, a lot of ball to be played, and I am still not ringing the sky is falling bell.
Yeah. you're right in terms of the fact that it can be salvaged because we've seen what
we can choose to be happy or sad right now.
Well, I'm about to paint out the picture
sad.
on just the opposite, and just what I'm thinking about when I'm watching these series, because it's like, all right, yes, we're getting Ronald Acuna. Well, what's Ronald Acuna Jr. going to look like? Is it going to be the 2023 version? Anything's going to be better than what we have, right? But we need him to be the raw.
If we want to win a championship,
maybe not 2023, but damn near close to it. Like, he needs to be like the best version of Ronald Acuna. Spencer Strider, even like. I don't know why we haven't necessarily talked about it, but like, have you seen Spencer Strider toss the ball this year? Like, he's throwing 95, 96. Like, that's a pretty substantial downturn from where he was a couple of years ago. Now, he has a lot of movement on that fastball. It's very hard to pick up out of his hands. He gets nice reach. So there's a lot of other things working for that pitch than just the velocity that makes it really good. But I'll tell you what, 96 is a lot different than 100. Like, there's no doubt about that. Like, what exactly can we expect from Spencer Strider when he returns? These are questions. He could be amazing, right? But I'm also not completely convinced. And then the depth, as we always talk about, is just non-existent on this club. Like, we're one injury away from the sky actually falling right on top of our heads. Like, and then we always talk about the bullpen. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, God.
It's about perspective, Chase. And I woke up this morning. The gambling gods were not on my side, and I thought I need to just be positive. So I'm choosing to be positive. And I think it is a matter of perspective when you can look at the Dodgers, and though they are missing two of their top arms, that is still an absolutely loaded team, top to bottom. I mean, their bullpen features, everybody's throwing gas. I mean, their rotation, even without those two guys, is still nasty. The top three of their lineup features 3 MVPs that are playing absolutely MVP level baseball every single day of the week. None of them take days off. And there's power littered throughout that lineup. So while, yes, that is true, this Dodgers team is still just nuclear right now, and we are not in our final form.
But I think that's the point. Like, this isn't even the best version of the Dodgers, and that's who we're going to have to win to be champions. So I'm looking at this team, and this is how I look at the Atlanta Braves, and this is how I think we should all be looking at the Atlanta Braves. Like, we're not looking to make the playoffs. Like, this isn't this isn't 2018. This is 2025. Right. We've won 7 division championships, been to it 7 straight years, 6 division championships, a World Series. Like, it is World Series or bust. Like, we need to be looking at who are we going to be playing at the end. And I look at the Padres and I look at the Dodgers, and I'm like, those teams are so far ahead of us right now that it's scary. And like, some of them, you're right, they're not in their final form. So, and they're only going to get better at the trade deadline. So it's like the amount of ground that we have to make up is so significant. And that's why I'm sitting here watching this series and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, like, how did we get so far behind these teams? And I do wonder, what's going to happen this season. And we can talk about Spencer Schwellenbach. I don't know if you want to do it this segment or that segment. I know that's your guy. Let's go
on the next segment.
All right. Well, we will go to break. We'll talk about Spencer Schwellenbach, some of the things that actually happened. But it's been a rough couple of starts, 4 or 5 starts for Schwellenbach after that fiery start to the year for the second-year pitcher. Spencer Schwellenbach. We were ready to crown him the National League favorite, and he was right there, right behind Paul Squeens as the second odds-on favorite to win the Cy Young Award after the first 4 or 5 starts. I haven't checked them recently, but I guarantee you they have taken quite the tumble because his last 4 starts, he has a 7.17 ERA, and frankly, he's getting crushed. I mean, he is getting absolutely. I mean, I think the Dodgers had 8-9 batted balls over 99 miles per hour, so 100 miles per hour or more off of Spencer Schwellenbach, and that's been a trend in all of these starts. It hasn't been him walking batters, which is obviously a good thing. It's guys lining him up, and you start to wonder, like, guys come up and have success, then kind of the blueprint for that guy is finally out to the world. They know what Spencer Schwellenbach's trying to do, how he's trying to attack hitters, what he likes to do against right-handed and left-handed batters, and then all of a sudden they hit these bumps in the road. This happened a little later than I think people expected. It seemed like he almost skipped over all of that, but it is indeed happening right now, and how he responds is going to be critical to who he's going to be. Is he going to be a good pitcher, or is he going to be a great pitcher like we believe he can be?
I think that if you told yourself one way or the other, you have no idea what you're talking about. Whether you are for him becoming a great pitcher or that you are sure that he will never become a great pitcher. Because if you look at how many starts has this guy made? 30 or low 30s. That's about a full season's worth of starts, and you're ready to make an indictment on a guy. Either way, I'm gonna be on the side that I do think he will overcome this. But the only thing I have to tell you is, I was listening to the Atlanta radio this weekend and on Sunday, and people were asking, is this like Bryce Elder, the flash in the pan from that 2023 All-Star campaign? And all I can think about is, how the hell do you watch Spencer Schwellenbach and Bryce Elder and even mention them in the same sentence? I mean, Spencer Schwellenbach is closer to Paul Skeens than Bryce Elder is to him. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Bryce Elder. It's just purely on the stuff.
Bryce Elder, after 3 starts, is just getting shredded on the show.
Yeah, he like finally woke up and he's still like a punching bag.
Yeah,
for
it's
Atlanta's.
like he's had his best 3-start stretch dating back to 2023, and he's just getting.
But Bryce Elder pitches, his fastball is 92 miles an hour and like has a 0 other offerings. Like unless he is perfect and inducing ground ball rates, like he is a 4A pitcher at best. And Spencer Schwellenbach, though getting roughed up, still has the stuff to be an elite talent in this league. And while I can't just gloss over the fact that 3-4 starts, he has been hit hard and very hard. And it wasn't just bad. Like you said, it's not bad luck. Like, he is getting hit hard. And you can chalk it up to it's the Dodgers. But he also got hit up pretty hard about some bad lineups as well, or not so good lineups. So I think that this, in the full encompass of this guy's career, we're talking about a season worth of starts, and has been pretty damn good over the overall span of a full season worth of starts. I am not going to hit the panic button. I also am just, maybe a little biased that I do just love the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think way too early to hit the panic button on Spencer Schwellenbach. I do think adjustments need to be made, and I think that's obvious.
That would be
one thing that always stands out to me with just the way Spencer Schwellenbach has kind of embraced, just gone on and just walked up, didn't even pitch in AAA, and has gone out there and tacked batters from everyone. I mean, I believe he has the highest first pitch strike of any pitcher in all of baseball. He doesn't walk anybody, and you love all that, right? And he obviously has the ball on a string. Like, he knows he knows how to pitch the ball in the strike zone. He's got 6 pitches. All of that stuff is amazing. But I do wonder, with that book kind of being out on him, that like, hey, that first pitch is going to be a strike. Like, right, he's going to try to get one over you, whether he tries to get one over on a slider and get one past you while you're taking, or he's going to go right after you with a fastball. Like, that book is so obviously out there that I wonder, like, hey, maybe dial it back slightly. Like, just be a little bit more disguising, and that not every first pitch has to be a strike right in the middle of the zone, because it feels like they're kind of just jumping on that stuff early.
I mean, this is chess. This stuff is chess. Pitchers and batters. The first at-bat, setting them up for the third at-bat. The first at-bat, setting them up for potentially, you hear Greg Maddux, all these crazy stories about him. This stuff is chess. And it's just a young guy who clearly he is as talented, but he is clearly still learning the game, the nuances of pitching. And Chris Sale is a guy who he's got to lean on. And obviously the coaches he has to lean on in these instances. I just think that, if it was like he can't stop walking guys, and he has no control over his pitches, and it's all the things that you are like concerned, like he's losing a tick on his fastball. Those things are actually concerning, but he hasn't shown that stuff. Like you said, it's I've got balls, hit it, and they've been hitting it.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't shock me at all if the next start he came out there and absolutely threw gas, was fantastic, 10 strikeouts, 0 runs. It wouldn't shock me at all if he went out there and gave up 5 runs and this kind of skid goes on. But I do think he's going to get out of it sooner rather than later. I think the mental makeup of this kid is something that we've been so incredibly impressed with, that these kind of things, while if he was a lesser pitcher or maybe a little more of a head case, you might be a little bit more worried about. But I think this is something that he's going to take with his stride, something that he probably assumed was going to happen a lot earlier in his career. I think we all assumed. I mean, there's just not that many guys that come up the way that he did with 100 professional innings under his belt after being
like 5.
after being a two-way player and have this level of success. So this was expected when it happened, but when it didn't happen, you're like, well, maybe it'll never happen. Well, it's here. It's here. And now it's like,
Let's see what's next.
Yeah. And I have all the confidence in the world that Spencer Schwellenbach will get through this and be even better than he was before. I don't know how long this is going to last. It could last 5 more starts. It could last 0 more starts. It could last 10 more starts. It could last until next year. You just never know. But I have all the faith in the world that he will eventually figure it out. It's just unfortunate that the Braves are in a situation where we need Spencer Schwellenbach to be like the best pitcher in baseball right now, because we don't know what we're going to get. Even out of Chris Sale right now, even though he's been better, absolutely nobody in this rotation, we have any idea what's going to happen any 5 days. We really do not. Even though Spencer Schwellenbach struggled, we actually had 2 very, very good pitching performances. One by Bryce Elder. I know he caught some strays earlier, but great job, Bryce. I mean, and if Bryce does go on to have a really solid year and ends up being a major league pitcher the rest of his career, it'll be one of those situations where, damn, like I was the only one on Bryce Elder Island for so long.
Got off the train,
I jumped off the train. I didn't just jump, I flew off. I spread my wings and I turned into the ultimate hater. But I really am glad to see, and I do think he can be a solid major league pitcher. It really is very simple with Bryce Elder. Hey, keep the ball in the park. And I know that sounds stupid, but it's like, if you go look at when Bryce Elder struggles, like even when he has those bad starts where he gives up 4 or 5 runs over 4 or 5 innings, like he'll look really good for 3 or 4 innings and then just give up a 780-foot homer. Like the ball went out to the next state, and you're like, oh my God, why did you hang that middle slider right over to their best hitter with 2 men on? Like that is not when you want to make that mistake. So it's a very simple thing. Like just try to keep the ball in the ballpark. Now, I don't know how he's going to be able to do that consistently, because the stuff just isn't exactly elite. And if he misses it all, it's very easily for these guys, especially the good guys, the Bryce Harpers, the Shohei Ohtanis, to make him pay. But the way he started off the game with 3 straight strikeouts against those 3 future Hall of Famers, and guess who did that also in game 1? Grant Holmes, who really has been shockingly, and I don't think he's been the most consistent pitcher in the Atlanta Braves rotation, which the front office never in a million years probably thought they would be saying that after 5 weeks. But while that's not a great thing, it's also a good thing.
You said that it could have been one thing or another, whether the rotation is just so bad that Grant Holmes is the best pitcher, or Grant Holmes is such a good pitcher.
Unfortunately, the rotation has just been atrocious.
But he has been good and pleasantly surprised. That.
He has like a 4.22 ERA or something like that, or like a 4 ERA. And I swear to God, he's pitched like someone with like a 2.5 ERA.
Yeah.
Like,
and
he's played some great offenses.
Yeah.
Every single mistake has been punished to the utmost degree. He's been good. Like he has been a solid pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. And I was very high coming onto the season. I've been very impressed. I think we're going to look up at the end of the season, and those numbers are going to look very, very impressive compared to what a lot of people probably thought they were going to get out of Grant Holmes.
Yeah. I mean, he's nasty. That fastball is still up a tick. I mean, it looks like he's going to be sitting in the mid to high 90s. And it's that off-speed pitch that is devastating. It was good last year, and it's better this year. And Dave Roberts said something about it. Multiple players have said something about it, how hard it is to see it and differentiate between that and the fastball. So, I mean, you hear those guys talking about it like this. I mean, you should believe it. This is, something to believe in. And now, frontline guy, no. But, like, you need a 4th starter. It's pretty dang good. And obviously, Bryce Elder, I don't think anybody – I think everybody woke up Sunday morning after that, midnight game on Saturday and thought, wow, we just got season swept by the Los Angeles Dodgers. First time since somebody brought that stat up, like 1980 or something, that one of these two teams.
Never happened to the Braves.
But the Braves had done it once
in 1994.
And everybody just kind of assumed that the Los Angeles Dodgers, with Dustin May on the mound, who, still not coming back from Tommy John, but this is his first season since Tommy John. Still nasty, absolutely filthy stuff. And we've got little old Bryce Elder rivaling him, and Bryce Elder nails. I mean, he pitched absolutely out of this world, and we do have to thank our big boy on third, Austin Riley, pretty much putting the team on his back. And in some cases, you're going to have to do that. Like, we shouldn't have to ask you that of Austin Riley or Matt Olson or guys like that. But guess what? you're going to have to do it from time to time. And you're getting paid. You're the two biggest stars in terms of paychecks on this big league team, especially talking about just the healthy guys. We're going to have to depend on you a little bit more than maybe you deserve. But answered the bell, Bryce Elder. If he could just, like we said, it's just going to, until we can get healthy, it's going to be stringing together these, spotty starts with a couple of bullpen heroes, a couple of, Nick Allen and Eli White, big games. Like, those things are going to have to keep happening. And is it a sustainable way to win baseball games? Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
But we're just trying to inch our way to a healthy squad. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah, which I don't know what's going to happen, because it doesn't look like Acuna's anywhere close to returning, despite them saying mid-May, early May return. We are now in early May, and the guy has not even started a rehab assignment. And from everything I've read, it sounds like it's going to be at least another week before that happens. So I don't know what's going on with that situation. I don't love the fact that it's not. I don't love the fact that it's so quiet. Spencer Strider hasn't started throwing yet, so it's going to be at least a couple more weeks, few more weeks before he's back. So it's not like those guys are coming through, and it does scare me, because if those Eli Whites and Nick Allens, who I don't expect to be playing the way that they have been,
they're going to run out of steam. And the hope is we will be returning our guys before
last
that.
Thing that we say about this series, I mean, do you want to talk about the elephant in the room, Freddie? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You know what? I actually do want to say something. Mark Bowman and a couple of other guys tweeted about, some people behind home plate high five, and when Freddie Freeman hit a home run. I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday. And the thought was on Braves Twitter and Facebook was that there's still some Freddie Freeman Braves fans, and that certainly may be the case. You know what my mind immediately thought of? Those guys got Freddie Freeman anytime home run.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I thought. I was like, how do you know the root? Like, gambling is so prevalent nowadays. How do you know that it wasn't a Freddie Freeman anytime home run? I mean, that is a juicy bet coming back to Truist Park. Everybody's going, he's going to make the Atlanta Braves pay, because that's just how gamblers think. Like, how do you know that?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm halfway joking.
I was good. I'm good for one. Freddie Freeman was the worst decision, letting him go rant a year. And I let it out on Twitter after that game that I was at, and I was very disappointed. But
you know what's annoying?
I do want to actually talk about the two things, because it's the two guys that everybody was crapping on coming into the week. Ozzie Albies entering Sunday night, didn't have a great game Sunday, but had a 1,000 OPS over his last 5 games before that with a home run, even though the home run didn't really matter. But hey, listen, it counts. And then secondly, Raisel Iglesias in that Sunday night game, he looked crisp. He looked absolutely crisp, and, he kind of got dealt a raw deal with an infield single, and then Ha-Seong Kim comes in, and now I see why they call him the Comet. He steals second, makes another good base running play to get to third on a strikeout by Will Smith, which was a huge strikeout for Iglesias, but then runner on third, 1 out, just makes Miguel Rojas and Austin Barnes, 2 guys that aren't great hitters, but makes them look like AAA guys that have no business even being in the batter's box against them. And the stuff was just crisp. The changeup was nice, the fastball, and that's one of those outings, those games, and that situation, 1-run game, pressure situation. You get some bad luck, you overcome it, and you strike out the side to make sure that runner doesn't come. And the last time you faced this team, they hit a home run to tie the game and you lose. Like, all of those things were in Iglesias' mind. They were in my mind. I know they were in his mind.
Everybody's mind.
I know they were in his mind. For him to come out there and pitch like that, that's the kind of outing that can, kind of turn around a season. And he had a couple of scoreless outings before that, but they didn't matter. They weren't big ones. That one's big. The Braves needed that win. It was the Dodgers, considering what happened, considering what's happened this season. Everything felt like, he's going to blow this. And he delivered in a huge, huge moment early in this season. I think that's the kind of outing you wanted to see from him, and maybe can build some momentum on moving forward.
Yeah, we've had 15 different galvanizing moments already in this season. It feels like we've played out an entire season already, and we're only a third through or a quarter through this season, and it's just individuals having their own galvanizing moment, whether it's Michael Harris, whether it's Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Sean Murphy. Chris Sale had his individual. I know we didn't win that game, but it was still encouraging to see. AJ Smith-Shawver, the bullpen individuals in there. Dasbel Hernandez has had several moments. Like, everybody is starting to kind of maybe believe in themselves a little bit more, and the pieces are coming. And I promise you, these next couple series, very winnable. We're going to win a couple. We're going to be all in the same boat that we were before the Rockies series finale and this Dodgers series, where we're back. Season's back. World Series back on. And then guess what? Another one of these moments is going to come, because that is baseball, and it's going to be one of those moments where you scratch your head and you go, what the hell is everybody doing? That's baseball.
The last thing I want to mention, and this is totally irrelevant from stuff that happened on the field because he didn't pitch well, but Dylan Lee is the guy that I would like to name most random baseball reference page I've ever seen, because every time I check it, like I never really am thinking watching Dylan Lee, like, damn, Dylan Lee's having a really good season. Like he's been really reliable. Every time I check it, it's like he has a 1.95 ERA and has been the best reliever in the Braves bullpen. And like you never talk about him. You usually are always crapping on him because he gives up a home run in some big moment.
Well, but he also hasn't pitched the most high level.
But at the end of the season, like his ERA for the Atlanta Braves over the last 4 years is like a 2.2 ERA. Like he has been one of the more reliable lefty relievers in all of baseball. And that kind of stuff always cracks me up, because every time I look at it, I swear, go look at it. You're like, what? Like these are his numbers over the last 4 years. They just been absolutely absurd. We got a lot more to talk about. Moving on to the Falcons coming up after the break. We had 2 game 7s of the first round, and they went about exactly, if you were into narrative, guys, like this is exactly the narratives that have been around, because it's guys that have been around. It's Steph Curry from 2009 draft class. It's James Harden from the 2009 draft class. One seemingly always finds a way to get it done. At least his team does, even if he's not playing well. And the other is the exact opposite. And that's exactly what happened, right? I mean, James Harden, we gave him credit for game 6. Game 7 comes around, just disappears. Yep. I mean, non-existent. I really thought the Clippers were going to win this game, even on the road. I liked the Clippers. I thought they had a better team than the Nuggets. I thought James Harden was going to relieve those demons, and I thought at the end of the day, Kawhi Leonard would be able to close it out. James Harden just had to play a good game. Kawhi Leonard is going to be that closer. They get absolutely blown out. James Harden was a no-show to the game, and the narrative continues. At this point, it's not even a narrative. It's his career storyline. I mean, he's 36. This is who he is. He's 36 years old, and this has happened with 4 different teams. And it sucks because I'm a James Harden fan.
Yep.
Not that I don't like the Nuggets. It's just annoying that these kind of things happen every single time he gets into a big game. And at this point, it's like, even if this situation comes, which it could happen again next year, you know it's coming. It's going to happen. It's inevitable.
Bet your bottom dollar. And that's what I was saying about that Rockets-Warriors series from years ago. Chris Paul gets injured and everybody's going, oh, Warriors got off the hook. Like, are we sure that series wasn't going to happen the exact same way either way? I mean, like, I'm not sure, because all the data says that James Harden's team will eventually fold because their best player or second best player, depending on the circumstances, just doesn't show up in the big moments. And it does suck, because I love James Harden. I'm looking for an excuse to, like, argue to the point that, like, I like James Harden and, you're wrong about him. But he's making it impossible. It is literally impossible to now defend him. That guy on whatever channel years ago that was bashing him, that went on like a 2-minute rant, and how James Harden is the bad roommate. You keep having a bad roommate. You go, what's the problem? Maybe you're the bad roommate. James Harden might be the bad roommate. And then on the flip side, I don't know why. It was disrespectful that the Warriors, even on the road, I don't even care that the Warriors were underdogs. I saw that and wish I could have put more money on it. I mean, it's just absolutely ludicrous that we are with this Rockets team that only has Fred VanVleet in terms of experience. And Jalen Green has just been absolutely atrocious. I mean, he has like 30 points in 6 games total. I mean, that's just pathetic for being as talented as he is. And I think all the conversations about, let's get rid of, Jalen Green, let's just also give it a rest. He is just a young cat. He knows he played bad. I don't think shipping him out of Houston is what the Rockets should do. But in that same breath, I mean, the Warriors still won this game and Steph sucked. I mean, Steph straight up sucked, and the Warriors still won this game. And I don't want to say with ease, but it felt like even when the Rockets maybe cut the lead a little bit in the second half, it still just felt like it was just one of those, older brother, younger brother moments where it's like the older brother can just, whenever he wants, just pull away.
It was the old Buddy Hield game. I mean, how about that? Buddy Hield was the star of the show. I mean, Steph Curry obviously had a great fourth quarter, which helped put the game away. I believe he had 14 of his 17 points all right there in the fourth quarter. Draymond Green did what he does. He's hilarious.
What does he do?
Foul the hell out of people and get technical fouls. If you're not watching the game, like sometimes, I'll be like the Braves game will be on. So like I got that game and then like maybe I have just the ESPN Gamecast up, and without doubt, I look down, Draymond Green, technical foul. I'm like, shocker. I mean, it's literally that actually happened to me yesterday, and I laughed. It's hilarious. But, yeah, Steph Curry had a weird series because he led the team in points, rebounds, and assists. If I'd ever told you Steph Curry was going to do that. Also, I believe the Rockets shot 30% against him yesterday when he was the primary defender.
Dude, I mean, that game 5 and game 6, the Rockets were playing so well. The writing was on the wall. Like, they could not miss in game 6, and it was so obvious that the Chickens were going to come home to roost because they're not a good shooting team.
I think that series is really just a testament to Steph's entire career at how he's developed as a basketball player, improved defensively, become more of a rebounder, become a better passer. Just everyone focuses on the shooting, and obviously he's the greatest shooter to ever live. But it's just like those kind of games when you see those kind of series where the Rockets were game planning the hell out of Steph, and they did so good on him defensively. He even said it was probably the best defensive effort against him of his entire career, or one of them. I mean, the coach for the Rockets, was outstanding. I mean, he was unbelievable. It's one of the main reasons they had a chance defensively. They're long, athletic, young, hungry. It all showed up.
Thompson is
a
force.
Steph Curry still was able to make an impact, even when he was taken out. And like 10, 15 years ago, no one would have ever thought that Steph Curry would ever be able to have that big of an impact and not be able to shoot the lights out of the ball. So I thought that's what really stood out to me about that entire series. But it's funny. Like, I want to say narratives, but it's like things just stay the same. Like, that is exactly
as much as they change.
They have stayed the Steph Curry and James Harden, and those things just go that way every single time. We got a little more to talk about coming up after the break. The NFL Draft is now about 2 weeks away in the rear view mirror. We all were happy, thrilled with what this defense could now look like after drafting at least 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 contributors. But as far as the Falcons are concerned, who are the biggest winners and losers on the team from the NFL Draft?
Biggest winner, I really don't even think this is an argument, is Jeff Ulbrich. Just actually having some pieces on the defense to be excited about. I mean, coming into the draft, and that's the whole point. The draft is where you get better. It's one piece of the puzzle where you can get better. But before the draft, it was depressing going on ESPN or wherever you look and looking at the Falcons defensive depth chart. Now you got Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr., 2 legitimate pass rushers that are exciting. You got Billy Bowman, who's going to compete in the slot. And then you got Xavier Watts, who's maybe not week 1 starter, but is expected to be a starter by season's end back there with Jesse Bates.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jeff Ulbrich. I wrote something about the remaining offseason, how I believe there's going to be at least one move. You can go check it on the site, which you can see below, SportsTalkATL.com. Everything we talk about on this show is typically up there in writing form and greater detail on the website. But I was talking about it, and I was looking at the defense and just like the pieces that are currently on the roster, and it was encouraging. I mean, there are a lot of things when you add Jalen Walker, James Pierce, Xavier Watts, Jesse Bates, Mike Hughes, AJ Terrell, Caden Ellis, and then those were kind of the main guys. But if you even go further, Arnold Ebiketie, Braylon Trice, Ruger Rororo, there's a lot of things that if they just add another piece and it works out, there's a lot of potential for Jeff Ulbrich's group. Who did you think was the biggest loser of the 2025 NFL
I think
draft?
This is debatable. I don't think Braylon Trice was by any stretch of the imagination a winner. A rising tide, all boats rise. I think that's very prudent in this example. That's not necessarily the case with Braylon Trice and these edge rushers, because while it does benefit Leonard Floyd, who I consider a winner because of those 2 guys, I think Braylon Trice is a loser because he's not only a 3rd-round pick, he's also a 3rd-round pick coming back from an ACL injury. opportunities are going to be scarce for him. So he's going to have to make the most of them. That's not to say he can't, carve out a role in this defense by any means. Obviously, that's a possibility. I'm just saying the opportunities aren't going to go to a third-round pick coming off an ACL tear. They're going to go to Leonard Floyd, Arnold Ebiketie, Jalen Walker, and James Pierce Jr., first and foremost.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with Leonard Floyd being a winner. And I think the guys that the Jalen Walkers and the James Pierces are also going to benefit from Leonard Floyd's presence. I think Braylon Trice is one of those wild cards because, as you mentioned, you're coming off an ACL. Pass rushers typically don't have these great impacts, and the opportunities could be scarce. But there was a lot of momentum surrounding this young man for how he was looking in the preseason. And it looked as if he was going to be right there with Arnold Ebiketie and one of the team's top pass rushing options. Now, that's kind of sad to think about, but that's what the state of the Falcons was. Obviously a little different, which is why you consider him a loser. I think another big winner from this NFL draft is going to be Ryan Neuzil because the Falcons didn't take a center at any point in this draft. They did get Joshua Gray, who's an interior offensive lineman. He played guard at Oregon State where he really thrived. I don't know if they would ever consider moving him to center, but regardless, you don't spend a draft pick. You got a guy who's really just the incumbent starter with no competition. You got to take advantage of that opportunity if you're Ryan Neuzil.
Hopefully it changes, even if it's just some, 7-year veteran who's just been a journeyman. Somebody with starting caliber experience at the center position needs to be brought in purely for depth purposes. If they're fine with Neuzil, that's their prerogative. I would have been more, inclined to add an actual starting caliber lineman. Last loser, I think Clark Phillips and D. Alford. Billy Bowman, they already said it. I mean, right after drafting him, he is going to compete at the nickel spot. And D. Alford was barbecue chicken last year as the starting nickel. I don't know why Clark Phillips is trying to be they're trying him in the slot. I always thought he was a boundary. I think the physical limitations are apparent. I thought he was better in the boundary than he was in the slot. They're going to give him another shot. But they had a 50-50 chance before the draft coming in to be the starter in Atlanta's defense. Now, that's less. Whatever amount of percent that's left, if you want to go, each has a 3% chance to go, then so be it. But now there's 3 guys competing for a spot. So those guys are obviously losers.
Yeah, and this is a team that's extremely high on Billy Bowman Jr. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've read much of the stuff coming out of the draft, but Kyle Smith, when day 2 ended and he was still on the board, was like, we got to find a way to get Billy Bowman in the 4th round. And Jeff Ulbrich came into the day 3 of the draft, was like, we got to find a way to get Billy Bowman in the 4th round. So that was a guy that they probably, if Xavier Watts wasn't sitting there in the 3rd round, we talked about similar situation, how they probably would have taken James Pierce if Jalen Walker wasn't there. But when a guy like that falls to you, you take it. And
glad these things worked out because we would have been taking guys way overdrafted.
Yeah, and it worked out that they were able to get all of them, but they are extremely high on Billy Bowman. And I know he played safety, but he's kind of that jack of all trades safety, that great ball skills at Oklahoma. And if that competition is close, I mean, Billy Bowman is going to be the starting nickel for the Atlanta Falcons. So I think you're right on all those. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA playoffs. A lot of things happened and a lot of things stayed the same. Wrapping up our show on a Monday, Indiana, Cleveland, Indiana. I told you they were a scrappy bunch, and they proved it. I mean, they are a team that's tough. They've been here before. They pulled off upsets. I don't know why, for whatever reason. I guess it's because they just don't have the star power. They're Indiana, kind of got ugly uniforms, whatever the hell it is. I think it's a combination of all those things. No one takes them seriously. But they got a pretty damn good basketball team, and they showed us in game 1. Do you give them any chance to actually win this series?
I still don't think so. I mean, maybe we'll see in game 2, but I don't know. I mean, nobody is particularly sexy on the Pacers. I mean, you've got like 7 guys who scored double-digit points every single night. I mean, it's just a wild way to play basketball, and it works. I'm not a big Tyrese Halliburton fan, but you got to give credit where credit's due. The guy is a baller. And on the opposite side, good Lord, Donovan Mitchell tried to put the city of Cleveland on his back, and it just still wasn't enough. I mean, the individual performance he had, I mean, you got to give a tip of that cap to that guy.
Well,
He's
except for the fact that he shot 1 of 11 from 3. And that was the story of the game.
Well, I mean, nobody was shooting from 3. They had to get to the paint.
Cleveland will not shoot that bad. I mean, they're one of the best shooting teams, and they only had 8 threes. I think they had like something like 60. They had some ridiculous streak where they had made at least 10 threes, and it was broken yesterday.
You could see Kenny Atkinson, though, getting pissed.
Meanwhile, the Pacers shot 50-something% from 3. I mean,
they're one of the best offenses.
But that's just not going to happen. There's not going to be a shooting disparity of that level of degree going on in this series. So I think Cleveland will win. But I'm glad the Pacers won this game and woke up everyone to hey, 1, it's going to be a good series, and 2, they're a good team that deserves
credit. It'll be better than the Celtics and Knicks.
And that wraps up our show, though. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll be back with you tomorrow.